I would say creating new products really excites me. I'd say like the formulations of them, telling people about them. I love interacting with the community, going to events, and talking to people about the product, talking to people who have been using the product and hearing how it's like helped them and changed their lives. So I feel like growth overall just really excites me. So I would say just start, even if you don't have all the tools or the resources, putting out products that are making a huge impact and being a part of it. That just really excites me. Just start and continue to push forward.
Well, just to get us started, I'd love to hear a little bit about your background. How did you get into e-commerce? I know specifically for you, the world of kind of health and wellness. How did you step into this arena and what intrigued you about it?
Okay, well, there's multiple layers of this, but I've always my dad was an entrepreneur. I come from like a family of entrepreneurs, so I feel like I was always encouraged to do something of my own and create something on my own. And like when I was younger, I would like buy things from Goodwill and different thrift stores and then sell them on eBay for more. And I took like a couple of drop shipping courses, was like super interested in doing that sort of thing. I started my first business was called Mellow Pillow, and it was these like neck pillows. And I started on TikTok in 2020 and like had a Shopify store and stuff like that. And so that was my first online store that wasn't on Amazon. And then, so I graduated college in 2019. I went to UCLA and I studied psychology and food studies. And I learned about like the soil and how the soil is so depleted of minerals and how like a fruit or vegetable 30 years ago doesn't contain the same nutrients as it does now. So that was something that like always stood out to me, and how a lot of people are walking around tired and they just think they need to continue to caffeinate rather than like actually giving their body necessary nutrition and minerals. And my dad had lung cancer in 2013. And that's how I kind of started my holistic journey and my health journey. And I actually came across CMOS. That was the first time I came across it. And because that was like a way to get mucus and stuff out of the lungs, but it was super not available. It was just people are using it in the Caribbean and in Chinese medicine. And over like the next like 5-6 years, it just continuously kept coming up. And then in 2020, I was working at a health and longevity clinic, and I had started my like online e-commerce store. So I already knew like I wanted to be creating something of my own, but something that I was passionate about and wasn't just selling stuff online to make money, but something that would have a lot of longevity to it. And this guy I worked with at Next Health, he was buying CMOS off of someone at the hospital. And so he knew about it. I knew about it. I wanted to get my hands on it. I couldn't go to Airone or Whole Foods and buy it. So one day we just like, let's start making it. And I set up an Instagram page and started selling it, just like doing local deliveries. I was driving like Studio City, downtown LA, like Malibu, just like hand delivering it to people. They were Venmoing my personal Venmo, and then got a commercial kitchen, started making the product in the commercial kitchen, started applying to retail stores, set up my Shopify store, and I had already known how to create a store. So I had designed the website and everything up until about like 6 months ago. And yeah, from there, we went viral on TikTok last summer, and we realized we really had a huge problem, especially as we to expand into retail stores.
I can only imagine. And that sounds like it's been such a journey. And I want to dive into all those parts in it. Take us back a second here. You mentioned you started out always with the entrepreneurial spirit. It sounds like you had some experience with retail arbitrage from drop shipping and Shopify. First off, when doing those ventures, number one, did you like think this was something that you wanted to keep doing specifically, or why did you eventually make your way over to Amazon? And then even with that, like, how do you feel like these ventures prepared you overall for what eventually became of your CMOS brand?
Yeah. So I knew that I wanted to do something in the health and wellness space because I'm eating, living, breathing it. And I didn't want to just like sell a random product that was coming from China or somewhere that I was just like excess consumerism. Like I wanted to create something that would actually benefit people's lives and something that I could talk about to people and sell and that I would consume myself. So that's why I decided to stick with the sea moss, and now we're like ocean-based superfoods and skincare products. And then the reason I started on Amazon was because I like our whole goal is to make sea moss available to as many people as possible and these nutrient dense foods and our natural skincare. And people are already on Amazon. So we wanted to go to places that people are already purchasing from and make it as easy as possible. And I mean, I know for me, like I order so many things on Amazon just because it's easy. So I feel like to just minimize the amount of steps that it takes, and like it's annoying sometimes importing your like information on like just a regular website. So
Yeah, it makes it easy. As we say all the time, it's the search engine. So if there's people out there, you can bring your product immediately where they already are doing their shopping. And it's such a great platform for just exactly like what you said.
exactly. Yeah.
Great. And then my other side of that was, how do you feel like your previous ventures prepared you for what eventually became what you're doing now? Just your experience growing up with entrepreneurial ventures of various things, although it's not specifically Amazon. How did that lead the way to what became what it is now?
Yeah, I mean, it gave the experience with social media for sure. So I handle all of our marketing and social media. And so it gave me experience in that field. It showed me it's like really not easy. Like you're not just in it to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
You really have to love it and work at it every single day. So I feel like it taught me like the hard work of a business and seeing like the difference, like how different businesses run. And I also worked for a food startup too in 2020 as like another side hustle. So I was able to see like how it works on the retail side as well. Um, but and then how to build a Shopify store, how to communicate with customers, kind of just like handling all the different aspects of the business.
Totally. Yeah. And I can totally see how all those things kind of come together. The food sector side of things, the e-commerce side of things combine to give you the skills necessary to succeed at this. Going on to CMOS, I imagine you were probably a consumer of it before you made the decision to go into that. Can you tell me about how that kind of shaped your like desire to go into it? Obviously, you wanted to do something in health and wellness, but why CMOS specifically? What made you gravitate towards that?
Yeah, so I actually wasn't a consumer of it. I wanted to be a consumer.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I saw online was mostly people selling it on Etsy. And for me, like I really care about the quality, specifically the water. I feel like a lot of people are making this stuff in their kitchens and I just didn't trust it. And I learned about the different sourcing of sea moss, how some of it was pool grown. Some people are like importing it from China and like places where the waters were super polluted. Um, and so I really care about the quality and I just wanted to make the highest quality and cleanest form of sea moss available. But I was consuming so many other products. Like in my college dorm room, I would literally be mixing like lion's mane, ashwagandha, be making like the most disgusting tonics with all the different superfoods before they became mainstream. And this was just something that I couldn't get my hands on. And I felt like I needed to try it.
Yeah, your trial started kind of with the journey of wanting to get involved with it to wanting to spread the knowledge and accessibility of it to other people as well. And a situation that you found yourself in.
Exactly. And I learned about like how nutrient dense it was. And those nutrients is what helps people, especially like people that aren't getting enough nutrition from the food that they're consuming.
Totally. Yeah.
And really what's a life worth living if you're not waking up feeling like energized every day and you're able to like do the things that you're passionate about.
Yeah, that's a really great set. And I love to hear how that kind of just transpired in the mission and the goals with your launching of this company. So going back to what you kind of said at the beginning about how when you started out this business, it was kind of all just direct to consumers. It was just you working with it and then spreading the word without renting facilities. It sounded like it was very much just a one person operation. Can you tell me about that starting out? How did that grow? How did that go at first? And how did you know that, hey, I want to take the next steps to actually build something around this?
Yeah. So at first, Alex and I were making it in my kitchen at my house. And we had gotten in contact with someone through a friend in St. Lucia in the Caribbean, which is they helped us source like the best sea moss in the Caribbean on St. Lucia. We actually went there last summer. So that's where we were sourcing our sea moss before we moved over to certified organic sea moss. And my mom just like got to a point where she was like, this is not a manufacturing facility. You can't be producing hundreds of jars of this stuff. Like there's no chance that moss could go down the drain. And this was when we were still delivering it to people on Instagram. And then I had just started opening up the Shopify store. I started reaching out to influencers because I know people in the health and wellness space, and they started posting it, and it started just growing to the point where like I was ordering all these packaging materials to my house to ship refrigerated. It was becoming so expensive as well that I knew that we just needed to move into a commercial kitchen. And we were only in that commercial kitchen for about 3 or 4 months before we moved into a co-packing facility. And we reached out to over hundreds of co-packing facilities in the US, and no one even wanted to hear about the process of CMOS. They heard the word CMOS and they were like immediately no. So we finally found someone that would just listen to us and hear our process. We flew up to Northern California because they were in NorCal and Woodland, and they were actually like super fascinated about the process. The facility was super clean, very nice people, and they agreed to take on our product and start producing it. And we started just growing really fast and ran into so many issues with like retail and shelf life and a ton of waste, especially going into distribution. It was mostly like because we were experiencing so much growth, and then me and Alex were both working full-time jobs, that it's like we would be in the commercial kitchen till like 1 or 2 a.m., have to wake up at 6 a.m. the next morning to deliver to retail stores, plus have enough time to package everything to take to the USPS and then go to work.
All yourself.
It was a grind. Yeah, it was just us two. That's it.
Why do you think there was so much stigma around CMOS with co-packers, and that it took you so long to even get a word in with them?
It's not like a traditional product like a jam or a nut butter or something like that they're used to making, or some sort of sauce. It was something that they've never heard before, and our process also was very unique because it needed to be cleaned super well. It went through, like, it had to be soaked for over 12 hours, had to be rinsed off like over 10 times, like clean with like these water ionizer machines that we bought. And it was just very labor intensive. And so no one wanted to learn about it or deal with it or have anything about moss in their kitchen.
That can make sense, and I can see why that'd be the case. And that's part of the struggle, I imagine, with jumping onto a new product like this, product category, whatever it may be. In this case, CMOS for you guys. And I'm glad that you guys were finally able to get in with that one co-packer and get that going. A lot of that growth that you talk about originally, just when it was just you making it out of your kitchen, eventually you said working in a more commercial kitchen, and eventually onto a co-packer. There sounds like a whole lot of growth. You said that several influencers packed it up. Was this all organic growth? Did this start out as just friends, or how did this build upon itself? Was there advertising, or was it completely organic?
It was all organic.
Wow.
Yeah. So influencers started posting it, then other people were reaching out to us. We had some pretty big influencers like reaching out to us, and I was like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening right now. Yeah. And then they started posting it on TikTok. So I feel like TikTok was really like where we started taking off and doing really well. And that's when CMOS like started trending a ton. It was all organic. We started doing ads in the last 6 months or so. Once we moved over to the single serve packet, since they have an 18-month shelf life now, rather than our old jar that had a 5-week shelf life.
I know like the shelf life is the big thing with CMOS. I know especially like everyone talks about the Erewhon packets where they put the fruit in there, and then those shelf life is just like it's done in a few weeks. So you're hearing what you guys were able to do with the single serve. That's definitely very cool to hear what you guys were able to figure out. On the organic growth, that's incredible to hear that you guys were able to grow so quickly without advertising spend until very recently, when you guys have already built yourselves up as a company. Was there a strategy behind that, or was that completely just taken off without like too much in-depth behind it? Like when it comes to TikTok and these social medias, did you really strategize out, hey, we wanted these partnerships, or was it completely just out of the blue and start to build upon it?
Honestly, a lot of it was out of the blue. I had like a pretty, I feel like I'm a part of a pretty strong like health and wellness community in LA, the Venice area, Santa Monica. And just from talking about the product to people, like they just wanted to share it. And then they would share it with their friends. And then maybe their friends had like a huge following on TikTok or something, and then they would post it. But there wasn't really a strategy like, oh, I need to get my products in the hands of this person. It just started unfolding.
That's so cool to hear. And I think it's part of the idea that's becoming more popular of, don't make a product and figure out how to market it. Make a product that's marketable in itself. Great design and thought on your part to dive into the space at the time that you did.
Yeah, I also I don't like forcing the product on anyone. Like if they don't like it, then I'd rather have them not share it, which is why we haven't done any paid influencer marketing yet. And we've just done affiliate marketing, just because I just don't want to pay someone if they genuinely don't like the product, then it's obvious.
Yeah, totally.
So,
That's a great mentality to have, and I'm glad that you're able to live through that. So in this period of massive growth, obviously we talked about one hurdle was getting in with a co-packer and making that happen. But I imagine as growing with just a small 1 to 2 person operation, there are a lot of hurdles and challenges you guys had to face. Is there any big challenges that came up throughout this time that really shaped the business or really made you think twice about this?
Oh, absolutely. So when we were working with the co-packer and we started having a ton of growth, we ran into the issue of the short shelf life, and certain retail stores, it was becoming really hard to keep track of retail stores if they were putting it in the refrigerator or if they were leaving it out on the shelf, and like product was showing up it went spoiled, and it was just turning into an absolute nightmare. Like the more that we grew, so we knew that we needed to increase the shelf life, and finding people to help us with that didn't want to add a ton of preservatives to the product was really challenging and cost us a lot of money. We bought a pasteurization machine. I was working with 2 other consultants. I had a business coach who like came in, and from day one, she was like, your current product is not profitable at all. We need to get out of the refrigerated space and figure out what we're going to do to preserve the shelf life of the CMOS without, of course, like harming the product and stripping it of its like nutrients. And so I think finding those partners, that was one of the most challenging parts. And the fact that we were having to spend a ton of money, plus we weren't super profitable. And we weren't able to like sell that product on Amazon back then. We just had our capsules on Amazon. So that was one of the biggest challenges. And just having a bootstrapped business, figuring it out and trying to connect with the right people that would work with our product once again, and also help us find a solution. Like we tried pasteurizing it, wouldn't work. And then all of a sudden we're stuck with this huge machine that we needed to figure out what to do with. We tried canning it. We were doing all of this too in this like local manufacturer in LA. It was a disaster. I was losing hope. I was just like ready to throw in the towel at those points.
But you guys didn't throw the towel, and eventually towards the pouches that you have today.
Yeah, we got introduced to a new manufacturer who was originally going to try the jar method, try it in the jar. And then we were talking with them, and I was like, how about we just do a single serve packet? Because a lot of the issue is like once you open the jar, you're exposing it to oxygen, which makes it go bad faster. And people always want to take CMOS on the go. The pouches are perfect, super convenient, and it worked. So it's been an amazing partnership so far. And yeah, I'm just very grateful. And now I would say our biggest challenge is we're going to be launching into like over 800 retailers by January. And currently we're in a little over 50. So managing inventory.
You have a distributor you work with for that whole expansion, or is that all one-on-one?
Yeah. So we're currently onboarding with KG, which is a large food distributor in the US. And then we also have a smaller distributor right now, Foundation Foods.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah.
And so imagine on top of all the retail, obviously you started out with retail as the shelf life just didn't allow for something like Amazon. Eventually, once you came across these single serve packets, the shelf life expanded. Tell me about the process of turning towards e-commerce, Amazon, and launching on there, and how that went.
Yeah. So we've done super well since we launched on Amazon. I think it's been close to 3 months now. And I think it's because a lot of people are already searching for sea moss gel, and maybe they've tried the gel form before in the glass jar and they've received it, and maybe it's been like moldy or it's spoiled or they just didn't like it. And then now they're able to have the single serve packets, which are a lot more convenient for them. And so it's been a huge success so far. And we're just getting started. The reviews is probably our biggest struggle right now because people tend to only want to leave a review when they don't have a great experience. Whereas like we'll receive messages on Instagram from people that are like, I ordered it on Amazon, I love it, I was obsessed. I'm like, can you please leave a review? And then just doesn't translate. Currently our biggest challenge right now is getting positive reviews from people that really like the product.
Totally. Yeah. It's always a hurdle to get over. So you said you've been launched on Amazon for about 3 months now. Okay, would you be able to walk me through each one of those months, just briefly, how that went? Obviously, I can see that it's been building over time, but I'm curious how those numbers have worked out.
Yeah, so we have had our capsules on Amazon longer though. So we've had those on Amazon for about a year. And then we have, if you go to our bio on Instagram or TikTok, we have a stand store. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's super easy for people to put it in our email. And then the next thing that we have on there, it's kind of similar to the link tree, but I think it's easier to use. The second one is to purchase the product on Amazon. So we're really trying to direct people to Amazon as much as possible. But let me go through.
And just for reference, the capsules, is that powdered sea moss, or what exactly are the capsules?
Yeah, so it's the sea moss, burdock root, and bladderwrack. So bladderwrack's another seaweed and burdock is an herb. And we just combine those and put them into capsule form. And those capsules were selling super well. And then we had an inventory issue at my fulfillment center. It was miscounted. So we are currently sold out, but going to be restocked in the next couple of weeks. But so we launched on Amazon probably about a year ago. And then I had an agency come in and redo our listings. And we went from like having maybe 1 to 2 sales a month to having 10 to 20 sales per day.
And that was all the help from that?
Yes. I didn't know what I was doing when I first set up our listing. I did not take any courses in Amazon or anything like that. So
definitely a bit of a learning curve. Even with prior e-commerce experience, it's just a different world from Shopify or anything else. Just the way that they work at and the way that they boost something, it is all based on search and getting in front of the right customers at the right time.
Right. So what was the data that you wanted me to share?
I was just curious about the latest launch and how it's gone for you guys on Amazon.
Yeah, it's just grown every single month since we've launched, and it's been doing super, super well. And it's actually helping our other product that's also on Amazon right now, which is Skin Mist. And we weren't getting very many sales from that. But I think since people are then like exploring our brand and seeing what other products that we have on Amazon, that's also gained a lot of traction in the last month or so.
The products tend to build on top of each other like that and can lead to multiple like that on Amazon. So it sounds like some of your next plans, they include, sounds like a lot of expansion into retail across the next few months into the next year. Is expanding e-commerce, I imagine, is that also a big plan of yours for the product, or what are the big goals coming up?
Definitely, yes. So we are going to be launching sea moss gummies, and gummies are huge on Amazon. I know a lot of the gummies on there are garbage. Not thinking about other companies, but we put a lot of thought into this, and we've been working on it since 2020. And it's a glow gummy, and it has sea moss, aloe vera, vitamin C, and pearl powder in it. And glow gummies, I know, are trending. It's like beauty, glow from within. And so that is going to be the main thing that we're going to be pushing on Amazon and on just e-commerce as well, and TikTok Shop.
TikTok Shop. Yes.
So that is something that we are really trying to tap into. I have like a whole list of just TikTok Shop creators that I'm trying to reach out to and get in communication with, just because I see so much potential with TikTok Shop.
Yeah, it's definitely really growing, and for a product like that, I could definitely see the potential. So your success so far sounds like you guys have been very successful in over 50 retail stores, a large online presence, and been able to get through some very challenging times with a great outlook ahead. When you look back, what do you think are the biggest things that led to your guys' success, whether they were actions or beliefs or people that helped along the way?
Yeah. So in 2022, I met our business coach, who is now a partner in the company. And I was introduced to her through a mutual friend who was trying to connect me with people that knew gummy manufacturers that would work with us and try and help us create a sea moss gummy that wasn't bitter. And from the second I met her, 2 days later, she like pitched me on being our business coach, and she has helped us so much, specifically with like a lot of the things in the business that I didn't have organized, like our numbers. She's helped us a lot on the manufacturing side, and so truly wouldn't be here without her. And I would say also like being healthy, having a solid morning routine, and just like sticking to my vision every single day and like coming back to that, surrounding myself with people that are constantly uplifting me, because entrepreneurship can be extremely lonely. And one of my best friends, she also has a food business, and she started it around the same time. So we're currently going through like similar growth phases.
Sure.
And I'm just so grateful to have someone that I can also be connecting with about everything that we're going through. So I think it's super important just to surround yourself with people that are continuously supporting you and uplifting you, and also holding you high to achieving what you really want to achieve.
Those are great. No, I love it. Yeah, that's great. I mean, the importance of having a healthy body and community is just so important, and translates to other areas of your life. And being in the space of making products, I know how hard it can be to get connected with manufacturers, specifically of gummies. So that's very cool to hear how you made that connection, and we're able to do that. So while working on your business, curious, what about working on your business is the most exciting, the most invigorating for you? And what excites you the most when you build this company and are a part of it?
Wow, there's so many things. I would say creating new products really excites me. I'd say like the formulations of them, telling people about them. I love interacting with the community, going to events, and talking to people about the product, talking to people who have been using the product, and hearing how it's like helped them and changed their lives. So I feel like growth overall just really excites me. And anything in the marketing side, like I love beyond TikTok, I love creating relationships with people over the internet and then meeting them in person. So I think just continuously like putting out products that are making a huge impact and being a part of it, that just really excites me.
That's great. Love to hear that. When looking back on your journey, when either giving advice to your younger self or someone starting on this journey, what would be the biggest thing that you would tell them?
I would say like to start. I'm so glad that I just took the risk and started young, because even if I was starting now, and right now I'm 26, if I was starting now, I'd honestly be a little worried. Not worried, but I would be less likely to want to take as many risks as we have with this business. And I'm just so grateful that I started it 3 years ago. So I would say just start, even if you don't have all the tools or the resources currently. Like they're all available. You just have to put yourself out there and really tap into them. Our first product, like our label, I created it in Canva free. Like we didn't even have a graphic designer, a label designer, like all the information is out there on the internet. YouTube is available. I had actually watched like so many of Travis's Amazon videos in the past. So, I mean, all the information is online, and I feel like I would say just start and continue to push forward.
That's great advice. Yeah, I love it. It's so common people get stuck in analysis paralysis or just not wanting to take that next step. So that's great advice, and I'm sure a lot of people can benefit from that.
Definitely. And perfectionism. And it's like so amazing to even look back and see what our first version looked like, our second version. And it's so cool to see the growth.
Totally. Kind of on that same note, looking back on your journey, is there any mistakes you feel like you made, anything you would do differently, or anything that really caused trouble at the time?
I mean, everything has been a learning lesson. So I don't know if I would necessarily change anything, but going forward, I wouldn't create a refrigerated product in a glass jar. That is for sure. But other than that, I would say, I don't know, everything has like taught me everything that I need to know right where I'm at. So I don't think so.
That's great. Thanks for coming on. That's everything I have for you today.
Okay.
Yeah, I really appreciate you answering everything for me. That was super cool to hear about your story.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Connor.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Anna. And yeah, you have a good rest of the day.
You too. Bye.